Thank you.
How's that? Oh, by the way, Coleman, she may not realize this, but Coleman, like me, is a Queens of the Stone Age fan, so I approve of your taste in music. So I just wanted to say that. And that was a great, thank you for that reading. And then we're going to have another one of our friends from the other side of the river. He's been here before, but it's good to have him back again. Please say hello to Emmett Wheatfall.
Hello, Ghost Town Poetry. It's a delight to be here tonight. I spent about an hour and 45 minutes in the car to get here. Coming from Oregon City. Well, I got a chance to hear some great poetry and tonight's feature. Before I get started, I've got a new lyrical poetry out. When I say lyrical, it's poetry and music. I'm just giving these away. I decided to do that. So if anybody would like to just have a free copy of this work, it's a love story. 10 poems told lyrically. The 11th is instrumental because the pianist who did the first composition is just so beautiful. So these are just free. Take one if you'd like.
Thank you.
I hope you'll indulge me tonight. Since it took me a while to get here, I want to do something a little different. I've just got about 2 short poems and one that's just a little bit longer than short. And one of the things that I've discovered during poetry readings is the connection between the ear and eye. Most of us know that when poetry first started out, bards and troubadours traveled the countryside using manner, and they recited poetry. But with the advent of the printing press, all of a sudden we stopped reading poetry out loud. We read it in our head. And one of the things I'm working on is connecting the ear and the eye together. So I want to do an experiment tonight. Just 2 little short poems and a little longer one. I won't be long. But I'm going to pass out the poems to you. Oh, and you're going to be able to read with me. But also you're going to be able to hear my voice as I read it as well. That'd be all right?
Yeah. Thank you. Sounds good.
If I'm going to break a tradition, I'm going to break the glass tonight.
All right. Thank you.
And wait till those are passed out and then we can go together. Trust me, I don't like using up a lot of time. Others are waiting to read as well.
So it's very generous of you to offer the CD. If people want to tell other people about the CD or buy one if we run out, or how do they get the CD or your other CDs?
Very easy. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
You can go to cdbaby.com. You can go to iTunes, most of those download sites. Or to make it real easy, just my name, Emmett Wheatfall, http://emmettwheatfall.com. I can give you my card afterwards if you'd like to do that. You read my bio and stuff. Does everybody have a copy?
Yep.
How many of you know that in the United States, law enforcement is designed to make sure to protect our civil liberties?
I know that.
Although the problem is that sometimes we know in our country we have the horror of police brutality. This poem is called Poor Boy. Poor boy. Poor boy felt he had nowhere to turn. When facing a wall higher than I, he thought, concede. Poor boy leaned forward as if it were a wailing wall, spread all 10 fingers as wide as possible. He prepared expressly for the beatdown in lieu of the policy that required a pat down. I whispered to him that if we awake, inhale as deep as you can, then hold it. For every breath, poor boy, is all you will ever own, it being what little breath is left in your broken body. Poor boy. Our problem as human beings is that we take and we don't replenish. We take and we don't replenish. Poem called Small Stones, Small Stones. We hurled rocks into the creek and the creek answered with splashes. We had taken from one resource only to have replenished the other. We wondered aloud if the fish pondered the new arrivals. What we do know is that those two rocks will eventually rub together as often as the current permits. The two will smooth each other's edges and become small stones. One day, some of our descendants will retrieve those stones from the creek's edge, skip them as far as possible down its watery surface. We wondered aloud if the new fish will ponder their new arrivals. We need not know the answer, for we will have been long gone from having visited that creek. Small stones. Then finally, we live in a world where there's so much conflict. We see so much protests. We see so many groups aligned against each other. This poem is called "The Summer of Hate." It was the summer of hate.
Yeah, it was.
It was the summer of hate. Out of their mouths flowed a river. The fish were filthy, and the sediment silky sentiment. Yellow-skinned people weren't permitted to swim, and the light-skinned people railed against the brazen sun. It was the summer of hate. Everyone got an earful, creating excess earwax. Still, people used Q-tips that only created impairment. This generated anger among the hearing impaired, stifling understanding. It was the summer of hate. Blood red were eyeballs, given everyone eyed each other. No one could see others, because when they could see, everyone else was an other. Then fire poured from nostrils. Flames consumed each other, turning everyone ashy. It was the summer of hate. Like eels, eyebrows contorted, twisting and bending as if on dry land, suggesting the presence of anger. Women's eyes lash-flapped. Men misinterpreted the gesture. There grew more confusion, so men began rolling their eyes. It was the summer of hate. So you can imagine how I, as a gray-brown mockingbird, lifted higher to a new loft, uninspired by the people below, while reveling in the freedom of open and unencumbered sky, with my wings unfurled, given it was the summer of hate.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, guys. Our next reader is going to be really good.
It's you, right?
Sorry, so much great shit is going on that I lost track. Thank you, Emmett. And by the way, it takes a lot of time and effort and some money to put these things together. So I just want to say thank you to Emmett. That's very generous to do all that and then offer it for free for people that want it. So I think that's a cool thing to do. Thank you. Yeah, and much respect to anybody that puts together a poetry CD. It takes some doing to do something like that. Okay, next we are going to hear from Julie. Come on up, Julie.
It's been a while.
Welcome back.
Thank you. First, shameless plug. Everybody has announcements. Through the month of September, I do have an art show going on at Paper Tiger Roasters down on Evergreen, corner of Evergreen and Grand. It's going to be going through the end of September. There's 9 works that are available for sale. One of them's already sold. But come down. Starving artist, trying to get the rent paid and the electricity and whatnot, but hey, it's all right. And I do have a couple of poems to share. The first poem is one that I've read before, but I'm reading it because I happen to know that it's somebody's favorite poem of the ones that I've done. Behind the fan, holding the brush, she is the canvas. Each sweep of her slender hands build the fantasy of her. Goddess of the floating world, she is the creator who is the created, the sculptor and the clay, composer and symphony. Amid endless cascades of pure white petals, she dances in silken splendor. Exquisite, precision, controlled, wild, seductive abandon. In this blizzard of loveliness, my soul is set aflame. Each movement compels, each gesture of graceful limbs lead me from reason, lost in the wonder of her, caught in those eyes. One smile flashed, her conquest. I am hers forever.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And like the rest of you, I have been mourning what's been going on in the gorge. And taking the bus, in the really poor air conditions that were there, it was just eerie. You couldn't really see the sun. It was like this faint little red circle way up in the sky. And here's my poem of mourning. Land of gray twilight. Smoke hangs in the air. Fine ash falls silently like snow. To the east, precious treasure burns in the inferno of carelessness. The sun, is it still there? Above the smoke and ash? Will the jewel of our home heal from the scars of callous disregard? Will her beauty return?
Yeah.
Okay, I warned you about the announcements. We have quite a few announcements to go. I'm going to invite up 2 of our members of the Clark County Arts Commission, Annie Davern and Lorraine Zawani. They're also artists, as I mentioned. Lorraine, responsible for the fabric above your heads, and Annie is a talented photographer in our community. And so I'd like to say hello to Lorraine and Annie.
Thank you.
I would like to say what a privilege it is to be amongst you today. I have come to these readings a few other times, although I've been a member of this community for over 30 years. I've lived in Clark County, but things are really happening here, and you are all a significant part of it. So I am kind of thrilled and overjoyed to be here, and the announcement is, I think, really significant to you because you are also obviously appreciators of the words and literature. And you know probably, all of you, that Christopher Luna has been our Clark County Poet Laureate since 2013.
5 years.
And significant things have happened since he's taken on this role. He has been really a cultural ambassador, promoting appreciation of poetry and literature and other significant things that he has done in combination with Arts of Clark County. He developed Poetry Moves, which has the poetry in our C-Tran buses, and that's been talked about already today. Also, Poets in the Schools. I have witnessed his extraordinary ability to connect with students, teaching, encouraging. He's a teacher. He offers so many opportunities to people who already appreciate and who are new to appreciating literature. So I am really so grateful to him, and I know I speak for the whole Clark County Arts Commission and broadly our community for what you've done. Christopher, thank you. And I know Toni's also been significant in helping. So what I would like to do is announce that we are, this is a call for Clark County Poet Laureate call for entries. We are looking for a new...
Our next poet.
Yes, the next one. Christopher has served, and it's time for another one. So big opportunity here. Just briefly, eligibility requirements: must currently reside in Clark County, should possess at least 5 years of experience as a practicing poet, must have a working knowledge of contemporary poetry practices and concepts, be engaged in the poetry community in Clark County, and have at least one published book or chapbook of poetry. So those would be eligibility requirements. The job description, briefly: for the 2-year term, must be willing and able to plan and participate in events, including but not limited to poetry readings, classes, workshops, and public speaking. Be a steward and help facilitate the Poetry Moves program, and create a project as Poet Laureate to benefit the poetry community and engage the citizens of Clark County. And we do have the applications available today here.
We brought some tonight. There'll also be cards we'll leave in the entryway. So if you want to follow to the URL and download a PDF, you can do that later too. If you think you're at all interested or you want to push an application on somebody else, please take one. And the other thing that I also wanted to make an announcement for today was for an event taking place in Clark County next weekend, next Saturday. An Arts and Culture Summit centered around arts infrastructure, sponsored by Arts of Clark County nonprofit. We're facilitating, we're putting it on. We don't know what's going to happen that day. We do, but we want it to come from the community. So we are excited about the day, and I have agenda information. We have 9 amazing panelists from Beaverton to Seattle, all the way on down in between, that are going to be here to talk about the amazing things that they have been able to achieve in their own communities, so that we can get our stuff together and figure out what we want to do. So if you would like some information on that and you think you want to come, a warm welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words. And yes, the term of most poets laureate in the country, at whatever level, is 2 years. So happily served for longer than that, and I do think that it's time for the torch to be passed. So I'm glad that the Clark County Arts Commission is moving on that. And the project that she mentioned, which is also an element of all Poets Laureate, including the National Laureate. In my case, it was the Poets in the Schools program. So I always wanted there to be one here. I wanted to be involved in some way in facilitating that. We successfully did that and raised money for the teaching poets. It's a very small group. I think it's possible that all of them are here or were here at some point in the evening. At the moment, it's me, April Bullard, Morgan Hutchinson, and Jim Martin. But it will grow as the support from the community grows and the teachers learn that it's happening. And since that is something that I created that didn't exist before my term, that will continue to be my program. Of course, if the poet laureate who comes after me wants to be involved in that, he or she will be able to do that. Of course they will. But this is the thing that I wanted to create as poet laureate, and we did create. And so I look forward to seeing how that moves forward into the future. Okay, so back to the open mic, and thank you for the announcement too.
And I forgot to mention November 1st is the deadline for.
November 1st is the deadline for people applying for that position. Okay, and so now we're going to hear from Bob Sunshine. Come on up, Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Enjoy the next 5 minutes. It's in brown. You're going to wish it was white, and you're really going to wish it was green. Okay, let's get warmed up. Every time I go like this, I need everybody to go boom. Let's practice. Boom! Come on, louder. Boom! One more time. Boom! This is the only time I'm going to use the microphone. Let's try it. Da 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 da. Goes on for 30 minutes. That's my warm-up.
There you go.
A cold white blanket covers the earth. On my right, a 10-foot wall. A sharp breeze slaps my face. My numb body cries out for relief. I seek the comfort of the gate which breaks the monotony of the foreboding wall. Through the gate I see a cemetery, wind-shaped dunes parading before me. A Sahara of death. Why do I stop? Could this be the threshold from one world to another? Mind governed by the anarchy of realty in this one, the infinite realm of man's imagination. These questions ponder my brain as my insensitive hands slowly reach to open the portal. I walk, then begin to run, exhaustion commence, and dizziness made me collapse. Tearing on the glassified ground, my shivering body moves inch by inch to bethink the phenomena which just happened, and we still got a lot of time. Oh no. Only one fell from the wall. Men and horses overhaul. King upset, queen Humpty licked. Hair found in Eggs Benedict. Poet's penis, purplish pink. Sidearm used to clog up sink. Poet's pussy, pleasing prose. Dildo draped with blackened bows. This one has a title, Poem Purrs. This is almost serious. Poem per soldier, battle won. Poem per thread, a carpet spun. Poem per drop, a storm appears. Poem per leaf, elephant ears. Poem per animal, ark full. Poem per poet, paper pull. Oh, I love that one. Poems I wrote today. Okay, let's get to it. Seldom speechless, surely strung, pebbles thrown instead of flung, followed further forgotten, urgency undone upon. Crawling creature, circus clown, beloved between nose now brown, whipping post delighted proud, tightened grip, protest endowed, petrified pulse plummeting, spineless statue stuttering, once upon chosen lifetime, sanctuary's a shapeless shrine. Ambitious the multitude, purgatorious precious prude, You're not the first, her reply. Flashing floaters, aye, aye, aye. And the last one.
Maybe.
Can't read my handwriting.
Take it up.
Inanimate. That's a tough one.
Are you sure?
Inanimate. It doesn't matter. Inanimate empty nest. Pardon, please, persistent pest. Crying crowd, Christ crucified. Neither work for sinners' pride. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, now please, a warm Ghost Town Poetry welcome for Tracy. Come on, Tracy.
Up with the fall here. Woo! This is a poem I wrote about a year ago. It's my political rant that I've been sitting on. I thought I'd try to unload. It's called It's Just Revolting. The crippled lives of the misled masses, they stole the money we got handed our asses. Shun the criminals that pass for politicians. They can't hear you through their partitions. The laws they made to break our backs, the savage force of their attack. The refuge in the street, nothing left to eat. The crumbling infrastructure that taxes our future, the thread of hope that acts as a suture. The festering wound and the scar that we keep, marking our lives till the cuts get too deep. Where's the dream, the vision, all the choices of your indecision? You can't live in the past tense. It's the pasture of the broken fence. And the other two are short poems on aging. One's about some of my friends who are car guys. I'm not, but this is a poem about getting older. You feel the exhaust, but not the combustion. Life escaping in the old engine. You pump fluids through, alcohol-water mixture that gets you off the line with poor quarter times. And the last one is about retirement centers. My mom, I took care of her for the last 3 years of her life. She only had to be in assisted living for about a month, but in that time I was able to see the kind of treatment you get in the visits you don't get, mostly. A lot of times they only show up 1 day a week. So this goes. So many together, aging in place, crossword puzzles in the assisted living space, 3 square meals in a voluntary lockdown, and nowhere to go till you come around. Visit me on Sunday after your church service. I'll try not to die. I know it makes you nervous.
Next we're going to hear from Russ. Come on, Russ.
Good to be here.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a rough year. It's good to have both of us in the same time, and the laughter, nice reminder. It's good to hear the laughter. Haven't heard a lot of it, so we got to have more laughter. This one has no title. It is not brand new, but it's new to this space. Equipoised, left foot, receiving side on red rhomboid of foundation and structure. Right foot, ascending one, pointed, stabbing into a black and white, irregularly skewed checkerboard of possibility and change. Here between, I seek the center, my foci, the nexus of my analemma, where I pause in the solace of stillness. Anyone who's ever been a student of synchronicity and serendipity knows that nothing truly is all that random, really. So a random pick that's not really. From this great book, The Black Poets, anthology edited by Dudley Randall. This is Conrad Kent Rivers, who lived 1933 to 68. And this is a piece titled 4 Sheets to the Wind and a One-Way Ticket to France. And this is a blind read for you. As a child, I bought a red scarf, and women told me how beautiful it looked. Wandering through the Sioux souls as France wandered through me. In the evenings, I would watch the funny people make love, the way Maupassant said. My youth allowed me the opportunity to hear all those strange verbs conjugated in erotic affirmation. I knew love at 12. When Selassie went before his peers and Dillinger goofed, I read in 2 languages, not really caring which one belonged to me. My mother lit a candle for George. My father went broke. We died. When I felt blue, the Champs understood, and when I was crowded, the alley behind Harry's New York bar soothed my restless spirit. I liked to watch the nonconformists gaze at the paintings along Gauguin's bewildered paradise. Brach once passed me in front of the Café Musique. I used to watch those sneaky professors examine the populace. Americans never quite fitted in, but they tried, so we smiled.
Yeah.
And I loved what you did, Scott, right?
Yeah.
Your piece about the fire.
Thanks.
And I knew we were going to hear some of that. I took more of the minimalist approach. I don't know if it qualifies anywhere close to Tonka, probably not haiku, but that's where I tend to get inspired and a lot of times go more minimalist. Lamentation is the title. Martian sky, dirty summer corn snow, headache, thaw harvest moon, youth measured, found wanting.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Thank you, Russ. Next, we're going to hear from one of our poets in the schools, teaching poets, Jim Martin. Come on up, Jim.
Jim. The next Paul Lloyd. The next Paul Lloyd, Jim Martin.
Pressure.
I haven't published.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, we can make that. We have that done tonight.
We'll just slither into that one.
We'll make that.
I really like this. If that was an experiment you're doing, it did work for me. It raised some questions that are interesting in my mind. Yeah. I'm going to start with a very short thing. My granddaughter, who will be 9 next week, didn't want to wear a belt that she got last year to school this year. And so, yes, we must remember. I'm old and forgetful. And so Katerina, her mother, my daughter, sent me this on Facebook. Karina didn't want to wear a belt she got last year. Karina, it looks old. Me, as in mommy old? Karina, no. Me, oh. Relief. Karina, grandpa old. Antique. I love it. Just a brief announcement. At 4:56 in the morning, Cassini, the spaceship, will land, actually penetrate crash into Saturn. 4:56 in the morning. You can see Saturn. We couldn't see it tonight because of the smoke. If the smoke wasn't there, we could see it, and we could just imagine that thing on its way down. I think that's cool. This is Dinogorgon rubidigi. It's just a skull, and it's resting where it was found, in the Palisades of New Jersey, and it's looking toward New York City. And that made me think. And so this is a very long view. Road cut, Museum of Life's Journey. Beneath my feet, an archive of that voyage. Over there, fallen rock fragments, a pile has shifted as a blanket slips off a bed to reveal an odd eye socket and nasal ridge. Dinogorgon rubidigi stares toward a world strange, her large, competent teeth frozen in attempted comment on the view from where she lies, imprisoned by the remnants of streams which lived here long ago. What the meaning of long ago? Can those eyes, mere sockets, span the distance from her world to ours today? Make the connection between what was then and what is now? Does that stony brain case hold and contemplate a record of the trek, archived beneath my feet, from the world she knew to the world her frozen sockets now view? Will she and I ever know and share our memories? And I do have those thoughts, even though I was a scientist. It may be possible. This comes from my youth when I was 16, hiking with some friends. We went up to Beacon Rock and then hiked out where you can see Hamilton Mountain. Doesn't have a title yet. Narrow trail maps cliff's edge. Restricted view, just the cliff and steep bank opposite. 6 of us, 16, out for fun. Then, slight ripple, my world shifts. A quiver in space and time. Bank on right disappears. Enclosing world slips, and we see it. Receding cliff becomes steep forest. Stands at attention, faces east, above the sky, deep blue. Vast. The opposite bank, a dissolving hologram, becomes high mountain. Below, meadow, green, bright, alive, mesmerizes our eyes, entices them to granite cliffs, strong. They support Hamilton Mountain as it reaches its body to the sky. I feel the spirit of this place, become it. My breath catches, it rushes toward me, over me and in. Chest expands, body, heart rush out, envelop all, reach to the sky. Words move from my lips to all before me. Tell, I am you, all of you, and you are me. And that was one of the things that kind of shaped my life.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jim. Next, we're going to hear from Mike G. Woo!
Yeah.
Come on, Mike.
If I were a bird.